All right, we're looking at Work Together 3-4. One of the things you are going to need today for Work Together 3-4 is a calculator. It is not hard math, but you will need a calculator. Please do not use your phone. And here's the reason, because I can't tell if you're on your phone using it as Snapchat or if you're using a calculator. If you don't have a calculator with you, in the lower left-hand corner of your computer, you would click on the Start button and then type in CALC, and that would bring up your calculator. And you can use that on the computer. I don't mind which one you use, just make sure that you have a calculator. Okay, again, the math we're not doing is not hard, but it'll get done a lot faster by using a calculator. So what we're doing today in Work Together 3-4 is we are looking at a journal, and you will notice that our journal page is getting full. Okay, now please realize that this journal, again, we're doing on the computer, but it would be a really like a piece of paper, and eventually you run out of room on the paper, so then you have to move to another one. So this would be the bottom of one piece of paper, and then this would be a separate piece of paper. We're not doing it just to try to annoy you, but typically that is what it would be done when it's on paper. So what we have to do is we have to journalize a couple more transactions, and then we have to go through and total and prove our journal. Totaling and proving our journal is kind of like the odd questions in your math book. You know when you get those? Because you know if you've done it correctly, right? Because you can check the answers. Well, when you go through to total and prove your journal, it's like those odd answers because you know it's going to be coming out correctly. So we're going to go ahead and follow our directions. Our directions say use the journal below. Your instructor will guide you through the following examples. Right here, instruction number 1, I'm doing that one first. It says journalize the transactions for April 23rd and 27th. Source documents are abbreviated as follows: C, check; R, receipt; S, sales invoice; T, cash register tape. So I need to journalize April 23rd and 27th. So I'm going to put the date of the 23rd. 23rd is sold services on account to L. Rowe, $375. Riley, what is one account? Sales, I would agree. Jack, what's another one? Correct. Is there a special column, Jack, for your account? I'm sorry, say it again. No? And then, Riley, is there a special column for yours? Yeah. So what do we put in the account title then? Accounts receivable L. Rowe. Thanks. Source document is S2. We said one account affecting is sales, so I'm going to go ahead and affect our sales column for $375. The other sales is a credit, so that means accounts receivable L. Rowe will need to be debited. The 27th, paid cash to owner for personal use, $500. The date is the 27th. Sarah, what's one account that's being affected?
Owner's equity.
Try again. You're close.
Withdrawal.
Yes, the drawing. And the name of our owner is, do you remember? If not, look at line 1 of your journal.
Norm Dermer.
There you go. So we're going to use Norm Dermer drawing. And then Justin, what's the other account?
Cash.
Yes. Justin, is there a special column for cash? Sarah, is there a special column for Norm Dermer Capital?
No.
So that is going to be what goes in my account title. Did I say capital? Sorry, drawing. Norm Dermer drawing goes in our account title. Thank you. Source document is C7. And we should be going, whoop, bells and whistles. Source documents is C, so therefore we must affect cash as a credit. And then we're going to do general debit. Okay, that's a review. That's nothing new right there. That's what we've been working on before. Now we are to the bottom of our page. This is where we have to go through and total and prove our journal. So what we have to do is right here on the very last line, which is line 15 of our journal, we have to put the date. And here's the date that we use. The date of the last transaction. So what is our last transaction? 27th. Now, I need to bring the numbers from the bottom of one page to the top of the next page. So I'm going to go ahead and write right here, not totals, because totals means that I'm done. I'm going to write the phrase carried forward. So when I put carried forward here, I need to know that I put a check mark here. Okay? Don't worry about understanding why. Just know I got to put a check mark there. Now, this is where you break out your handy dandy calculator. Because you're going to go in the general debit column and you're going to add up 375 plus 500. Go ahead and do this on your calculator. 300, 250, 1,000, 510, 148, 1,000, 375, and 500. And then put that number that you get at the bottom of general debit. I got 4,958. Did anyone else get that number? Okay. Now, I want you to use your calculator and continue to go through and add those up. I'm going to do it, but you can't see my answer, so you have to do it. When you have those numbers all added up, I want you to scroll down a little bit right here. What you need to do is we need to prove that our debits and credits equal from that page. So you're going to go through and put in your general debit number right here. You'll put in your general credit number. Obviously, sales will not have a debit number, so you'll put in the credit number there. And then you do your cash, debit, and credit and add these up. They need to equal. If they don't equal, you've made a mistake. I like all those numbers. If we take all those numbers and plug them in, you should look like this. Okay? So again, we don't have anything in our cash debit column because, well, there is no number for cash sales debit. And when we add these up, I have a total debit of 9,213. And when I add up my credit, I have a total of 9,213. That's when you do your happy accounting dance because your debits and credits equal. If your debits and credits do not equal, you need to find and fix the problem. Don't go any further. Because all it's going to do is get the numbers wrong in the bottom of that page and in the next page and then keep going forward. So I will go through and show you how to find the mistake if you have one. But you need to make sure you have to tell me how much it's off by. You can't see my debits and credits don't equal because I'm going to ask you by how much. You can't say about 100. I want to know, is it off $50? Is it off $73? The exact amount matters, and that's going to be how I'm going to be able to help you find that mistake. Okay? So did everyone get your first page column totals to equals, debits, and credits? Yay, happy accounting dance. Now here's the thing. We need our numbers for the whole entire month. So for April, I need to know what my total sales is. So what I need to do is I need to take my numbers and I need to put it on the top of page 2. Because if we look over here on the far right hand side, this says page 2, but this is still April. So what I need to do is I need to go ahead and put the month of April right here. And I'm going to use, bless you, the same date of the last transaction, which is the 27th. I'm going to put right here, I'm going to write brought forward. And then I'm going to put a check mark in the post reference. And I'm going to put those numbers right back in there from the bottom of the first page. So all I did is the numbers that were at the bottom of page 1. I put that number right here. Again, remembering this really would be an actual piece of paper, so it would be on a separate side, so then it wouldn't be like, well, why can't they just make it go longer? Because they're kind of showing you what it would look like if you completed these transactions on actual paper. So, numbers are carried from the bottom of one page to the top of the next. So two things that happen when we do this is sometimes people put brought forward here and carried forward there. You want to do it opposite alphabetical order. So C, then B. So we're going to carry it forward, and they're going to have brought forward. That is how we total a journal, and that is how we carry our numbers forward on top of the next page. So we just went through and did instruction number 2, proven rule page 1 of the journal, and carry the column table forward to page 2 of the journal. Now we need to go through and use page 2 of the journal and journalize the rest of the transactions, not for June. That's a typo. It's supposed to be for April. So let's go ahead and do April 29th. Receive cash on account from L. Rowe, $300. I'm going to go ahead and put the date in of the 29th. Cole, what's one account that's being affected with when I receive cash on account from L. Rowe? Accounts receivable L. Rowe. Is there a special column for that account? Okay. Dylan, what's the other account I'm affecting? Is there a special column for that one? Okay. So that means I'm going to put accounts receivable L. Rowe in my account title. My source document is going to be R, standing for receipt 3. So do we have more cash or less cash? More. So cash would need to be debited for $300. Accounts receivable is going to be credited $300. Last transaction that we're doing for April of the current year is receive cash from sales. Hannah, what's one account we're affecting?
Cash.
Is there a special column for cash? Okay. Jaden, what's the other account I'm affecting? Is there a special column for sales? So I have 2 special columns that are being affected. What do I put in the account title? Good morning. I can't leave it blank. If I leave it blank, it looks like I skipped it. V, or a check mark. So I have to put a check mark in the account title. My source document is T30, and a T stands for calculator tape. 30 stands for the... Someone got a sucker for this last week. Date, okay? Nice. You should eat it. It's a good sucker. So put a check mark in the account title. You have to put a check mark in the post reference. So we're affecting sales and cash. Well, sales is a credit column, so we're going to go ahead and put $544 there. So that means I'm going to have to debit cash $544. Now, we're done with the month. Yay! April's done. So now what we have to do is we have to do instruction number 4, which reads prove page 2 of the journal. Okay, so this is where you need to know how many days are in each month. Usually you know the month that you're born in and probably October, right? The rest, and February. Those tend to be the ones that people know. So here is my rule that you need to know for how to determine how many days are in each month. Okay, so has anyone heard of the Knuckle Method before? Yes? Okay. So, what I want you to do, make a fist. Spin around and look at me so I know everyone's paying attention. So you make a fist. What you do is you say the month, and you go knuckle in between, knuckle in between, knuckle in between. If it lands on the knuckle, there's 31. If it lands in between, it's 30, except for what month? February. So here's how we do it. We go January, February, March, April, May, June, July. Then you have to do August on the same knuckle. August, September, October, November, December. So you go across. You can start either way. It doesn't matter. I just go left to right. Go knuckle in between, knuckle in between, knuckle in between, knuckle in between. Knuckle twice, so you have to go back between July and August, and that's going to be how you can determine if there's 30 or 31. Some people know a song. I just use my knuckles. So how many days are there in April? 30. Because we always, on the bottom of a journal page, at the end of the month, we have to put the last day of the month. In this instance, we had a transaction on the 30th, but you might not always have a transaction on the last day of the month, so you need to know what the last day is. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the date of the 30th. Now, this is the end of the month, so I'm actually going to write in the word totals. Now, You're going to break out your handy dandy calculator and you're going to add up again. So now, notice I kind of have my screen like this because what page of the journal am I adding? Am I adding page 1? I'm only doing page 2. So I actually scrolled up so I can't see any of page 1. So if I look here, what is my total for general debit? $4,958. I didn't even need a calculator for that one, right? Because on page 2, there was nothing else affecting it. So my total for general debit is $4,958. Now, if you're really good, you can add up general credit without a calculator too. I went through and added mine up. Then right here, look it gives you a spot right here to prove page 2. Do the same thing to page 2. Carry your numbers down there and check to see if your debits equal your credit. I did mine, and I get to do my happy accounting dance, whoop, 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 because my debits and credits equal. Anyone else debits and credits equal? Like, seriously, some days you're going to do enough math, you're going to be really, really super excited when those debits and credits equal. Right, accounting 2 people? Like, you're like genuinely like, oh my God, it came out! It's really that exciting. Not lying. And when it doesn't come out, you're going to be like, I got to add it up again. Now, here's the thing. I told you if page 1 doesn't equal, stop and find and fix it. Because if page 1 doesn't equal, what's going to happen to page 2? Page 2 could never equal because you carry those totals forward. So if your totals from page 1 don't equal, page 2 will never come out. So that's when you really need to stop and go ahead and look at what is the matter. Now, if you're working at this at home, email me if you're struggling and you can't find it. If I'm by a computer, I can log on real quick and I can check it. And I'm usually pretty good about answering questions pretty fast if I'm around a computer. If I'm not, I'll reply, say, I can't look at it right now, but I'll try to get you some feedback in a little bit. Okay? So feel free to go ahead and email me. Usually it doesn't matter what time it is. I'll get to it whenever I get to it, but I will reply to you if you're getting stuck and you can't do it. The main thing you'd want to do is save it. Because once you save your Applia work, I can go in and look to see where you're at on it, to see where your mistake might be. Now, here's the thing. Yay, debits and credits equal, but we need another way of going through and proving that we have done our work correctly. And we have to do that by proving cash. And this is how we prove our cash. We take our beginning cash, and then we add what we receive. Which column is our cash that we receive? Debit or credit? Debit. So I'm going to take my beginning cash, I'm going to add what I received, and then I'm going to subtract what I spent, and that would be cash credit. Now, when we look in the directions, they give us some information. It tells us to prove cash. The beginning cash balance is 0. That means, hey, Norm Dermer just started this business, so at the beginning of this month, the amount of cash he had before any transactions was zip. But they also do tell us that the balance on the next unused check stub is $1,526. So that means our cash needs to prove to that. If it doesn't, we've made a mistake. Because here's the thing. I could have gone through and journalized transactions and got my debits and credits to equal by putting everything in general debit and credit. Would you agree? and not use cash. And then to be like, but Mrs. Grasso, my debits and credits equal. Yes, but you didn't necessarily use the correct columns. So by going through in the very last step of every month, going through improving cash is going to show you that you have used correct columns. Most likely, you can still make a mistake, but we'll go from there. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and they have a section here for proving cash. So we have to say cash on hand at the beginning of the month. They give that to us in the directions. Okay, Kendall, what's the beginning amount of cash? 0. Okay, that's an easy one, 0. Now, read the words. It says plus. So mathematically, plus means add. Okay, it says cash received during the month. I already told you cash received during the month is which column? Cash debit or cash credit? Debit. So I'm going to put in my cash debit number, which is going to be $5,099. Okay, now it says equal. So I'm going to do cash on hand plus cash received equals total. Well, 0 plus $5,099 is $5,099. Okay, less total cash paid during the month. So cash debit is how much we receive, so therefore cash credit would be how much we have paid. Now, that is a very important number, cash credit. That tells me what my cash flows is, and businesses need to be aware of their cash flow to know whether or not they have enough money to pay their bills. So for example, when I go through and work with the Thunder Zone, I try to time when homecoming shirts get delivered very close to when homecoming is, because I don't want them delivered in June. Why not? I don't have money to pay for it. When do I want them delivered? Like 2 weeks before homecoming, right? Because I have to pay for those homecoming shirts within 30 days. So if they send it to me in June, they're going to want their money, but I don't have enough cash to pay for it because, well, I just got $3,000 worth of t-shirts. Does that make sense? So businesses need to be aware of their cash flows, their money in and their money out, in order to know if they can pay all their bills. So I'm going to take my total, my $5,099, and I'm going to subtract my cash paid. And that gives me the cash balance at the end of the month, $1,526. Now, this last line right here, checkbook balance on next unused check stub, is always given to you in the directions. So when I look back at those directions, right here it says, balance on next unused check stub is $1,526. So all I need to do is take the number from the direction and put it here. Then I go through and compare. Do these two numbers equal? Yes. Happy accounting dance again, because everything equals. That means, hey, I'm pretty confident that my work is done correctly. It's kind of like those odd answers, remember? We know that our journal page comes out when our debits and credits equal. We know that our month has come out when our debits and credits equal and our cash proofs. Does that make sense? So always remember this last number here comes from the directions. It'll always give it to you. Go ahead and check your answer. Yay! I got all green check marks. I'm a rock star. Go ahead and try that on your own, please.